signal or something. Seems like, okay. Hello, and welcome. Yeah, so I'm here tonight to talk about bump keys. Big thanks to CirclecityCon for inviting me over to do this talk, and also thanks to Tool for the awesome slides. It's much appreciated. So there's a disclaimer here. Number one, don't pick locks that you don't own. Number two, don't pick locks that you don't rely on, that you rely on. You know, don't pick your front door lock. That just ends horribly badly for a lot of people. Number three, seek legal advice. Check local, state, federal laws. Lock picking can be a lot of fun, but you want to make sure you know what you're getting into before you start. The purpose of this presentation is to provide security awareness and promote good physical security practices, because what I'm about to show you is crazy easy that anybody can do. So Locksport organizations, I'm with the Central Ohio Locksport organization in Columbus, and we're just a group of individuals who love to get together and pick locks because it's a great puzzle for us, and we drink beer. We meet on the third Wednesday of every month, so if you're ever in Columbus, come on by. We have a lot of fun. So, to teach you how to bump a lock, we need to talk about what a lock is. So, and this, you have like three main parts. You've got the cylinder, the plug, and this right here is the shear line. And that's pretty, this is what we need to make a lock work. We have the spring, the driver pin, and the key pin. And so how you actually get a lock to open is when you put the driver pin on top of the shear line, and that's what lets a lock actually turn. So if we attempt to open a lock without a key, that driver pin up at the top is just going to bounce back and forth, and it's not going to let the lock open. So if we put in the key, we see, you know, it lifts the pins up enough to get the top pin above that shear line, and it lets the lock turn. So if we take a side view of the lock, you know, we see this lock has 5 pin stacks, and they're all at different elevations, which is why, you know, like you have like the ridges and different elevations on a key. So when we look at the key operation, as the key goes in, it lifts the pin stacks at different heights to get all the driver pins above the shear line so the lock can turn. Which takes us to what we're talking about today, which are bump keys. So bump keys are just a regular key, but all the notches are cut out to the lowest level, and each notch has a peak. They're also called 999s or knocker keys. You can make your own. A lot of places will not sell key blanks, so you can just have a copy of like your house key made and file it down from there. So you can get specifications online. Just Google what type of bump key you want to make, and you can get like the dimensions online and take a round file and just file it down. Or you can also buy them next door at bargain basement prices. So here's how bump keys work. They work by causing chaos in the lock. When we like put a bump key in and we give it a smack, it causes a split-second jump where the driver pins jump above the shear line. And so when we like put the bump key in and we take that whack at it, we're going to apply just a little bit of torque for the direction that we want to go. And that split-second jump, when those driver pins jump above the key line, is when you know, that's what lets the lock open, and it'll just roll on over. You're looking like the cat that ate the canary. No? Okay. Are you with me so far? Oh, boy, thank you. Okay. So it's like, you know, like pool. You know, when, or the little Newton desktop toy with the little balls that swing back and forth. Just boop, 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 boop. So, you know, it's a chain reaction. So here's a bump. Here's what happens inside of a lock when we bump, and this is how we bump. We put the key in and we pull it out 1 notch, and when we hit it with the force, that's what causes the driver pins to jump up above the shear line. And the lock will consequently turn. So this is, it's really incredibly simple, and you can very easily make your own bump keys at home. So, so here's the animation with it actually turn. So, and it also shows, when there's tension on the lock in a direction and not everything is above the shear line, we call that a bind. And one of the keys here is that with bump keys, they can, the binding doesn't matter anymore. If you're actually going to pick a lock and lift it, you go through and you feel each pin stack to find out which one binds. So there's the point here is there's literally minimal skill involved. But now that I say that, we'll have the demonstration effect later. So there are some locks coming on the market now that have that you can't bump. And one of the most common ways that they're doing locks that you can't bump is with driver pins. Yes. Is this better? Okay. So one of the most common things on the market for locks that you can't bump is actually driver pins. And what it is it has a pin on the in one of the pin stacks that pushes it down. So when you hit it with that torque and you cause the jump, it's not going to jump. There's other things that can go wrong with bumping locks. If you don't get it on your first time, you might have too much tension on the turn. You just want to hold it a little bit. Generally with lock bumping and picking, a good rule of thumb is you want to hold something like you would hold an ant without, to keep it in place, but without actually crushing the ant. So you just, a little bit goes a very long way. Okay, here's a, I thought those were really cool. That's what the driver pins actually look like that keeps you from doing the bumps. Okay, so there's the demonstration effect. We always call this the demonstration effect at our local chapter because, it's one of those things where you can open a lock in 10 seconds, and when you get up in front of a group of people to do it, we've had some real comedy. Yeah. Well, thank you. All right. Thanks. Well, it's not much. So put my bump key in. I'm going to pull it out one notch. I'm going to turn it just a little bit back in the direction that I want to go. And you guys can see the lock is locked right now. And so one good whack and it opens. There it is. Thank you. Yeah. I can get lucky sometimes, I guess. So actually, my intention for this talk was to literally just show you guys how to do it and to give you guys the opportunity to come do it some more. So who wants to bump? Yeah. All right, come on.
I've never actually done this before.
Okay. So put it all in. Pull it out one notch. And then put, all right, hold the ant in place, but don't kill the ant.
Mm-hmm.
Don't kill the ant. And give it a whack. Okay, you're going to have to hit it harder than that. Well, you can bump it locked, you can bump it unlocked. Yeah. But, here, they'll see better. All right. Pull it out to, sometimes in between attempts, you need to pull it out to take the tension off the pins. If the pins get overlifted whenever you're picking or bumping.
After one bump, you're
Yeah.
going up against
Yeah, after one bump, you're done. One hit. Yep. Yeah, okay, so, and then give it, you got to give it a little bit of tension.
Yes, it got communicated to me on this one. It's a communable now.
Yes. Okay. Got to hit it right, perfect square. So apparently there is skill involved. Will you come help him?
There's a couple of things
to keep in mind here. Can you actually go back to the slide that shows the bumping from the side?
Yeah.
Because what you're essentially doing here is you're using inertia. Hi, by the way, I'm Rance. I'm actually a member of Tool. I run a chapter as well out in Des Moines, Iowa. So kind of the families getting together here. We got Fools and Tools and all of that. So anyway, what you're really doing here, going back to talking about the pool ball effect, you're using the inertia of the key running along the bottom of the key pins to bump everything up. So you need to get enough force from the hit of the key to make sure that everything is going to bump up at the same time. And while that is happening, you do need to apply the sideways pressure to it, because you need to have the cylinder right there when the blue pins are up top. The cylinder actually has to turn a little bit. That's the point where the lock is going to open at that moment. So you need to give it a good whack with the hammer, but keep light tension on the key itself. If you're putting too much pressure or tension on the key when you hit it, the driver pins, the blue pins there, aren't going to move. One or two of them they're going to get stuck in the holes, and they're just not going to move around. So it's been a while since I've bumped, so let's see how well I do here. And then, so all the way in, back it out one. Just give it a little. No, I do not win. See, it's probably been 6 months since I've bumped. Oh, I almost had it. Yeah, that's the light tension. Okay. Ow. Yeah, I'm showing my skill.
I'm not alone.
No, there's definitely a technique and a touch to it, and it's something you have to practice just like regular picking.
We're blaming the lock.
DOS man, you want to give it a shot? How many failures does it take?
Locksport.
Just Columbus Locksport?
Yeah. Columbus Locksport.
I get out to Columbus every once in a while. I'll have to.
Got a site?
Uh-huh. So when you get into pin counts, one of the best ways that I like to count pins is you take that like a half diamond pick, and a half diamond pick is the only pick like in the standard lockpick set that has a flat side. And you can like rake it with the half diamond pick, so stick it all the way in and push it up. And then as you go through in the pin stacks, you'll feel some tension, and you can count them as they drop. So apparently I was really lucky. Yeah. Yeah, we love to have visitors. Did you get it? Did I? Yeah, guys. There's lots and lots of. Yay! Can we give this lady a ticket? Yeah. Well done. So there's lots of demonstration stuff, and there's people. There's some like really talented people across the hall in the Lockpick Village, and. Yep. Okay, is there an easy way to tell which way the lock turns? It's kind of a gut instinct thing. If you try to turn it the wrong way, you'll figure it out. But fun.
Typically, if the lock is it's on the right side, you're typically going to go clockwise. If it's on the left side, you're going to go, right side could be counterclockwise, left side could be clockwise. Typically,
Yeah. So that's a new hack that they actually. I just heard about that like a few weeks ago for the first time. So have you guys heard about this? You take a like 1/16 inch rubber O-ring and put it at the base of the bump key, and you can just like sit there and hammer on it the whole time. So yeah, because the O-ring will push it back out that one notch. And but yeah, there's lots of interesting ways. I haven't got to try that one yet. That requires going to a hardware store. Yep. Hey.
So the flip side of this, if I'm looking to replace a lock on my front door, I want something that's bump-proof. All sorts of locks I know say they're bump-proof, but they lock. How can I tell when I'm buying a lock whether it's truly bump-proof?
So, okay. So is the objective here to only be bump-proof, or do you want a really good lock? Okay. There's not a lot of locks on the market that you're going to find are particularly particularly a challenge for someone to beat. The best is probably Medicos. Yeah. Yeah. So there's some high-end specialty locks that you can like order online. These are not locks that you're going to find at like your Home Depots or your Lowe's. But so what they're doing that's different is they'll have like 2 or 3 different stacks of pins. There's some locks that the key will be like a cylinder because there's different gauges for like all different sides. Yeah. And but they're getting better, but the first line of defense here is not Home Depot. Yeah. Well, if we look at, again, when you look at the pin stacks, this is really what makes locks beatable. In a perfect world, all of these pin stacks would be perfectly, in a line. In the real world, it's made out of shoddy material. It's not manufactured with extreme precision. So because they're not in a line, like in this lock, if you try to open this lock, there's going to be one pin that is going to be binding. And when you lift that pin above the shear line, you can turn it a little bit and it'll hold it, and then you go on to the next pin. And so that's really, that's really how we open locks, and that's really why locks are beatable through like a picking method. But with a bump key method, like, if they were perfect, we could probably still bump them with no problems. But the key here is definitely going to be, multiple stacks of pins, different technology, different cylinders and locks. But, let's never forget how easy it is to use a sledgehammer. It's sad, but true. It happens. Oh, you guys have any more questions? Yes. I built that on Wednesday, and I practiced for 20-30 minutes on Thursday. So somewhere about there. So I have a few more minutes left, and I have a really funny story you guys might like. So I had scheduled the time off to take off work yesterday. Probably 6 months ago, I put it on the calendar and everything. And my boss calls, and I'm like, yeah, I'm out for the rest of the weekend. I left work at noon on Thursday. And he goes, well, what are you doing? I'm going to an information security conference. And he's like, well, are you sure you have to go? Don't you want to work on, can't you come in for Friday? Well, I need to go, and I'll be presenting this weekend. What are you going to present on? Physical security threats. Well, when you get back on Monday, will you give me your presentation? I'd love to hear it. Whoops. Okay. Well, thank you all. You all have been great. Thank you so much for the help. Oh my God. Yay!